Yeah, good afternoon. So let's start this session. Last three sessions, we worked on lots of frameworks. Today also, like we will take it in an organized way, wherein we will be talking about how to read the topic. We will try to see PYQ themes, but today we will try to do some hands-on work, wherein two topics, most repeated topics, public distribution system and public-private partnerships. Whatever the frameworks I am giving, let us try to take notes in the class itself. It might appear little boring, 15-20 minutes of your time, but once you take down that notes, at least for those two topics, you should get complete understanding of how to take notes, so that it's easy to replicate that particular content in your exams. Okay, so on that lines, so first things first, GS3 comprises of economy, science and technology, and disaster management, internal security. And there is a reason, why students often score less in this paper. Consistently, people blame it on UPSC marking pattern. It's not always about UPSC marking pattern. It's also because, the quality of the answers. What I can say is, of late, especially in GS3, as students are consuming more and more content from magazines, I'm not undermining the importance of magazines, or sometimes not even magazines, taking content from just classroom notes or revision classes. All these things, what it is doing, there is a great deal of homogenization. Means all the students are writing same boring coaching center content. Okay, so there is no novelty in the answers. So as there is no novelty in the answers, like, same templates, same similar content, and all students write similar kind of facts and stats, they're not standing out. Previously, what people used to do a lot of effort and try to, read content from newspapers, read content from yojanas, kurukshetras, originally take content from PIB sources. So all this used to ensure that, answer quality is naturally very good. So my point, yes, sessions like this would help you in giving orientation. Even we will try to give content, but especially topics like economy, which is very dynamic in nature, and even developments of science and technology, which again are dynamic in nature, to some extent internal security, which also is very dynamic in nature. What examiner usually expects from you is the original content. So put some extra effort, put some additional effort, so that you can actually write some original content in your answers. That's the reason why students are consistently not getting good marks in this paper, right? As in the last three sessions we have focused on what you call notes making aspect adequately. In this session, let's not again touch upon it. Let's straight away get into notes making with some frameworks. Okay, the frameworks, there is a slight difference in the frameworks between GS1, GS2, and this is the third session, GS3. Not much difference, but let's see. This framework, it's applicable for economy, what we are writing now. So again, introduction, conclusion, like I always say, prepare for induction, prepare for conclusion, prepare for facts. As you are taking down notes, prepare for some statistics, especially for economy. This is very, very important if you want to score high. And statistics with proper substantiations to establish the credibility. Then of course in economy also flowcharts matter a lot. Flowcharts matter a lot, and especially some diagrams, both statistical diagrams, bar diagrams, pie diagrams, comparison charts. Many students don't do this effort. Comparison charts. Then of course opinions, especially for macroeconomy, opinions are very, very important. Opinions should be collected from noted economists, okay, developmental economists, then from government sources like chief economic advisors, statements being given by chief economic advisors, statements given by RBI governors, need not always be on monetary policy, even otherwise also. Statements given by finance ministers, trade ministers, or to be precise, commerce ministers, agriculture ministers, noted industrialists, noted scientists for economy and science and technology both, noted industrialists, noted scientists, okay, also by some heads of international organizations, all this should ideally smoothly appear in your answers. Understood what I am trying to say? So apart from that, yes, of course, next aspect you also should write about, you also should identify, are there any specific committees that has been constituted to address this? Are there any specific commissions or committees that were already constituted to comment on this? What are the specific recommendations they gave? And if possible, try to read a summary of that. Okay. Or sometimes the government itself, it could be Niti Aayog documents, economic survey documents. Economic survey would be talking in depth and detail about that particular topic. That awareness also you should have. Recommendations, summaries, or recommendations given by Niti Aayog economic survey is another aspect we should not. And of course, best models, best PPP model, best PDS model, likewise best models in India across the different states or best model in the world. Both you should be aware. Then apart from that, of course, for economy, it's all about keywords. Keywords matter a lot in economy. And of course, economy also runs around frameworks. There is a lot of scope to write good frameworks easily in your answers. Then yes, contemporary relevance and historical basis is one thing I often ask students to prepare well. Let's say for some policies, it could be planning or something like that. You should be in a position to write the contemporary relevance also. Land reforms, planning, all these things are specifically mentioned in your syllabus, right? Then be prepared a little bit on the historical basis. When did PDS first start? When did MSP first start? When did land reforms first start? When did planning first start? Little bit of historical basis will make your answer sound authentic. Another important thing which students ignore in economy answers is try to know a little bit about the ethical or social imperative of the economic policy. You should also know this ethical or social imperative. I'll try to explain what exactly is this ethical or social imperative, knowing, let's say, universal basic income, or even PDS, or even minimum support price. All of this have some kind of ethical imperative, social imperative. Why government is implementing them? Because we are preparing for civil service examination. We are not writing economics test. Okay, we are not writing MA economy. We are preparing for civil services. So every macroeconomic policy has an ethical, social imperative behind it. Then, of course, apart from recommendations, you also should have your own understanding of how to improve these policies, or how to improve these aspects. You can also write your personal opinions, right? So this is how you have to work on your economy topic. All these, every topic actually there are not many topics, hardly 10 to 12 topics, right? Resource mobilization, investment models, agriculture related topics, that's it. And agriculture have separate framework, but it also can be prepared through this framework. Know well at least 2-3 good introductions, 2-3 good conclusions, some facts, some stats, and some substantiation. Substantiation means according to NSSO, according to NFHS, according to IEA report. You are writing on energy security, mention International Energy Agency, these kind of things. Be ready with flowcharts. Plenty of flowcharts are available on internet. You just have to download them, practice them. Diagrams, statistical diagrams are appreciated always. Bar diagrams are appreciated, pie diagrams, comparison charts, and coming to opinions like economics, developmental economists, chief economic advisor. This is what you read from the newspapers. Ideally, this is what you should read from the newspapers, but students are not doing this work. Then what RBI governor has to say, what finance minister has to say, what commerce minister has to comment on something, what agriculture minister is saying on this agri policy, MSP policy, what certain noted industrialists are commenting on this, what noted scientists or noted environmentalists also are commenting on this economic policy, and what some international organizations are saying about it. And are there any committees or commissions? Like for PPP there are committees, there are commissions. For MSP there are committees, commissions. For PDS there are committees, commissions. For investment models there are committees and commissions. For everything there will be some committees or commissions doing their job. Know about them, know their recommendations, if not in very detail, at least in a summary manner. Read those recommendations given by Niti Aayog or economic survey on those specific topics. Best models in India, world economic survey often gives this best models, or you can also source it from Yojana Kurukshetra. And keywords are very, very important. For every topic, keywords are important. Let's take PPP. I'll try to discuss like contract renegotiation, Swiss challenge method. These kind of keywords should be in our disposal. Of course, topic specific frameworks, contemporary relevance, what's the relevance of this policy even in the present time from the time it has started, little bit of historical basis of this policy, ethical or social imperative, and how to improve this. Okay, we often passively read textbooks, passively read materials, and think that we understood everything, we know everything. When a question is asked in examination hall, we tend to panic, we tend to not build answer structure easily because we are not preparing in an organized way. Okay, got my point? Yes. Now let's take some time, 10 minutes for PDS topic, 10 minutes for PPP topic, and let's fill this framework. You will understand what I am trying to say. Some of you may be already doing all these things, but you may not have been structuring it the way I have put it on the board now. Once you do this exercise, hereafter it will become a habit for you. It will become a practice for you, reading everything through structure or preparing everything in a structural format. Got my point? Yes. Take down some notes. First, let's start with PDS only. Okay, PDS, public distribution system. Okay, let's not make it very lengthy. My idea is just to give you awareness on, because from last 3 days I am saying frameworks. Let's do it first hand so that you will get to know what exactly is this, right? PDS, right? One introduction on PDS, but I suggest you to have 2 to 3 introductions. PDS is not merely a subsidy mechanism. PDS is not merely a subsidy mechanism. It is a welfare, food security. It is a welfare, food security, inflation protection, and social justice instrument. Inflation protection and social justice instrument. Okay, a similar type of content also suits your conclusion, but be prepared for 2-3 types of introduction on the topic of PDS, on the topic of public private partnership likewise. Then I told about historical basis, right? Historical basis. This is one thing which students often ignore, thinking that whenever we open textbooks or you try to read these kind of topics, first of all, the materials you read from don't write historical basis at all. When you open textbook, you skip that introduction historical basis part and you go directly into the headings you want for exam. This is a common tendency of the students. They think they read the book well. And if the questions are asked from the same textbook, you think that this is out of syllabus. Nothing is out of syllabus. You ignored that first 2 pages, last 2 pages. You don't want to read conclusion page, concluding remarks. You don't want to read introductory remarks, and you struggle to write inductions and conclusions. You got my point. This is an irony. Any student, whenever they read from any source, what they do is, while they are reading introduction, half mind. Reading body part, full consciousness. While reading conclusion, again 3/4, not even 1/4 mind, because we want to jump to the next topic. That is the reason why students struggle in writing good introductions and conclusions, because our whole mindset during studying itself is not reading introductions and conclusions seriously. That is the reason every student complain that we are finding it difficult to write an introduction and conclusion. But in fact, it is in the introduction often somebody who is writing it tries to set the premise, isn't it? Tries to situate the context of the topic, isn't it? While concluding, what somebody tries to do, they'll try to summarize the whole topic. They'll try to connect it to other topic, or they'll try to explain its contemporary relevance. So all these things will usually be there in introductions and conclusions, but this we tend to ignore. Okay, so let's not do this mistake. Now, historical basis for PDS, write down quickly. Started with scarcity management during colonial or war period. Scarcity management during colonial or war period, especially World War II time. Then after that, write it like a, what do you call, this format, A for followed by B followed by C vertically. Then 1965 FCI, after that, post independence rationing and food grain distribution. Post independence rationing and food grain distribution. Post independence rationing and food grain distribution. Then 1965 FCI is created for procurement, storage and distribution. FCI is created for procurement, storage and distribution. FCI is created for procurement, storage and distribution. Write fast. Okay, assume you are writing mains actually. Then targeted public distribution system in 1997. 1997 targeted public distribution system. Then 2000 Antyodaya Anna Yojana for the poorest households. Antyodaya Anna Yojana for the poorest households. Then 2013 National Food Security Act makes food security a legal entitlement. National Food Security Act makes food security a legal entitlement. Then 2019 onwards, National Food Security Act makes food security a legal entitlement. Then 2019 onwards, One Nation, One Ration Card. 2019 onwards, One Nation, One Ration Card. Then 2024 onwards, free food grains under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Free food grains under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana for 5 years. Free food grains under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana for 5 years. Then 2026 Sartak PDS. Sartak PDS. Sartak PDS for modernization and technology integration. 2026 Sartak PDS means public distribution system. Sartak PDS for modernization and technology integration. Okay, for every topic, it will take only 5 or 10 minutes of your time to understand that historical basis. So please don't ignore the historical basis. Always read historical basis. It will set the tone for the topic and help you write answers in much easier way for most of the topics. Okay, you will understand the real depth of the topic only when you read the historical basis. Okay, I know I have taken more time for it, but yes, that is needed. Facts. We will not write so many facts, just 1 or 2 facts. Okay, facts. Let's say free food grains under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, free, have been continued for 5 years. Have been continued for 5 years. For 5 years from 1st January 2024. From 1st January 2024. So again, when we are talking about facts and stats, don't make them too much factual, but some that should have a relevance. Okay, write down one more fact. Distribution is carried out through a network of more than 5 lakh fair price shops. More than 5 lakh fair price shops. Okay, these are the kind of facts which are very important and which can actually enhance the marks. Now let us see some more. Now stats, some statistics, straight statistics. There is a subtle difference between facts and stats. Facts combine numbers with some existing aspects. Stats are pure numbers. Okay, 81.35 crore approximate beneficiaries under National Food Security Act or Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. 81.35 crores. Okay, 25,530 crores. Centers 5-year allocation for Sartak PDS initiative. Sartak PDS initiative. Sartak PDS initiative. Okay. Yes. 35.5%. 35.5%. Under 5 stunting. Under 5 stunting. 19.3% under 5 wasting. 19.3% under 5 wasting. Stunting and wasting, these are all malnutrition, right? Nutrition related in children, under 5 children, according to National Family Health Survey. According to National Family Health Survey. Isn't it? If you can write these facts, 35.5%, 19.3%. These kind of stats will definitely enhance your answer quality. If you are writing answers without these numbers, somewhere, what do you call that, completeness will not be there. Okay, yes. Then I keep saying diagram, let's practice one diagram also, okay, for the topic of PDS. Right. This is for PDS reform points. Let's say you are short of time or it's a 10 marker. PDS reform. PDS reform. Write like this vertically, okay? Horizontally. Procurement, storage, transport, fair price shop, then beneficiary. So under each of it, procurement, MSP reform delivery so reforms in MSP will make procurement easy. So what other reforms in procurement can help PDF? Probably diversification of food basket. So diversification of MSP procurement. This will ensure that food basket diversity also enhances under PDS. Means nothing but cereals, pulses, oil seeds. Isn't it? Andhra Pradesh has actually implemented this, right? Fair price, like a retail store. They started a retail market, not just about grains. It did not work, but they started. Then regarding storage also is important PDS reform, right? Use advanced technologies. advanced technologies for grain storage, means silos, build silos, then what do you call trains, dedicated trains, grain trains. You know, in China they have this grain trains. Let's write this under transport, but yes, as part of storage, advanced technology. It could be cold chain logistics, or it could be building of silos. All this will ensure that food wastage will be minimal and rat infestation or pest infestation will be minimal during the storage part. Then transportation also is very, very important. So transportation should be, now what they're doing GPS enabled tracking to prevent diversion. Apart from that, transportation also should have cold chain logistics. Okay. And transportation also should take care of last mile collection. In India also they're experimenting this horticultural trains, right? In Uttar Pradesh, horticultural trains. Farm to what do you call? Farm to fork concept means in China what they do is straight to the rural areas trains go. No middlemen. Directly food produce is collected and they come to the urban areas. Entire is organized by the state market system. So that ensures that, you know, both farmers and also the buyers will get the maximum value. At the fair price shop also, yes, we need to do some reforms. It could be digitization, it could be digitization, and it could be what do you call better record management. All these things can be done at the level of fair price shop. And in fact, the machines, what do you call weighing machines and all, they should be standardized, they should be tamper proof. These are some reforms we can do. And at the beneficiary level, what we can do, of course, digital cards every time, rather than carrying what do you call physical cards which they might lose, or which might get spoiled. You can introduce digital cards or just a digital number. These kind of things will ensure at the beneficiary level also. Or so number can be used across the country anywhere. One nation, one ration concept will come to the real fruition. So the point I'm trying to say, practice these kind of diagrams, 2 3 diagrams, so that in examination hall when you are running short of time, rather than writing the whole content, you will quickly draw these diagrams, write these diagrams and come out. Got it? Then let's go for expert opinions and arguments. Expert opinions and arguments. Write down one such. Economists such as economists such as Jean Rees and Ritika Kera, Jean Rees and Ritika Kera, Jean Rees and Ritika Kera have argued through their work on PDS, that it is an important foundation. It is an important foundation of India's social security system. It is an important foundation of India's social security system. Their studies show that PDS, through their work on PDS, that it is an important foundation of India's social security system. Their studies show that PDS leakages were a serious concern. PDS leakages were a serious concern. But also that leakages declined. In states that undertook bold reforms. So the points might look very obvious, right? But if you use names of Jeendri and Ritika Kera, definitely authenticity will be much better. You will get that extra half mark. It's all about trying to recall and remember those names. Hardly there are 10 topics. Even if you remember 2 to 3 thinkers for each of them, 25-30 names is all what you should put in effort, right? Then economists such as Ashok Gulati, have argued for rationalizing food subsidy, reforming FCI, reforming FCI, reducing leakages, reducing leakages, and improving delivery efficiency, and improving delivery efficiency, improving delivery efficiency. This does not necessarily mean, this does not, this view does not necessarily mean rejecting welfare, rejecting welfare, but asks whether food subsidy architecture, food subsidy architecture can deliver, food subsidy architecture can deliver better results. Food subsidy architecture can deliver better results with lower leakages. Better results with lower leakages. Better results with lower leakages. Again, points are obvious. Nothing great. You know all these points. But writing them through name of Ashok Gulati, Jeendris, Ritika Kera will make your answer sound more authentic. Okay. For the sake of authenticity, you need to collect these experts' opinions and expert arguments. Okay. Now, commissions, committees, recommendations. Commissions, committees, recommendations. Okay. We'll just write one. Justice Wadhwa Committee, Justice Wadhwa Committee, WADHBA, Justice Wadhwa Committee, Justice Wadhwa Committee, computerization, computerization, transparency, computerization, transparency, vigilance, computerization, transparency, vigilance, computerization, transparency, vigilance, and reduction of diversion in PDF. Vigilance and reduction of diversion in PDF. Computerization, transparency, vigilance, and reduction of diversion in PDF. Computerization, transparency, vigilance, and reduction of diversion in PDF. Again, these recommendations seem obvious, but writing them through Justice Wadhwa Committee, Shantakumari Committee, or what Economic Survey says, all this will lend more authenticity to your answers. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Now, best models. Best models. Best models. Okay, we'll write Tamil Nadu model. Tamil Nadu's universal style PDS. Tamil Nadu's universal style PDS. Universal style PDS is important because it reduces exclusion errors. Is important because it reduces exclusion errors and treats food security as a broad social protection measure, as a broad social protection measure, as a broad social protection measure, rather than a narrow poverty targeting instrument, rather than a narrow poverty targeting instrument, rather than a narrow poverty targeting instrument. Now, best model in the world. USA model, SNAP model, USA SNAP model. Food assistance through benefit transfer, food assistance through benefits transfer, and market-based access. Food assistance through benefit transfer and market-based access. Food assistance through benefit transfer and market-based access. Okay, so you can also write in Kerala, one of the district collector, what he tried to distribute food coupons. He tried to distribute food coupons. Food coupons can be given in any outlet and individual can claim food. That's a very successful model in relatively affluent states like Kerala, where there are adequate number of restaurants or food joints. In way it enhances the businesses of the restaurants or food joints, and for government also distribution, it takes a lot of effort, right? Governance is a lot of effort. It minimizes the government effort. Idea is ultimately the objective is enhancing the nutrition and food security of the people. So why it should be only through PDS? You also distribute this, what you call coupons, food coupons, which they'll claim at any food joint and they'll consume the food. It's all about they have to consume the food, right? like that. So try to prepare for more number of best models. Then keywords, write down some keywords which examiner would want to see in your answers. Keywords, write down fast. These keywords, if they are seen in your answer, they will make your answer sound more authentic. Food security, legal entitlement, food security, legal entitlement, inclusion error, exclusion error, inclusion error, exclusion error, one nation, one ration card, one nation, one ration card, decentralized procurement, decentralized procurement, decentralized procurement, decentralized procurement, technology with safeguards, technology with safeguards, technology with safeguards, calorie security to nutrition security, calorie security to nutrition security, calorie security to nutrition security, last mile delivery, last mile delivery, fair price shop viability, fair price shop viability, fair price shop viability, citizen centric PDF, citizen centric PDS, citizen centric PDS, citizen centric PDS, portability, 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 serial centric welfare, serial centric welfare, serial centric welfare, serial centric welfare. Then social protection mechanisms, social protection mechanisms, social protection mechanisms. So you also can do this work. It's not difficult, but it's time taking. If you have online Hindu subscription, what you should do is you should go to search option and you should type this keyword, public distribution system. It will give you a set of 10 to 15 articles. What you should do is you should copy all those links, put it in one any AI tool and ask it to give keywords. It's a bit time taking. Then what it will do is rather than just asking to it to generate, when it is asked to generate, it might not give it with precision. But if you give these articles and ask it to extract the keywords, then its efficiency will be much better. You got my point. In this case, I did not do so much work. I just take 5 articles and 6 articles I pasted and it gave these words. If I have given 15 articles, it would have given more and more or much better keywords. You understood my point? Some articles written by these guys I have taken, I have put it into it, it has extracted these keywords. If you can add more articles, it can give better quality keywords, but actually this much is sufficient. If you really replicate all this in your answers, that itself, will make your answer sound excellent. Again, if you want to do that, you can also do that work. I just want to make it, clear to you how. Then framework. Framework, I think this is taking a lot of time. Let's do fast because there is a lot to cover for me. Framework. For what framework you can use for this? One simple framework, remember, PDS secure. Remember, listed also we used similar thing, right? PDS secure. PDS secure. I use this secure framework for many things because it is easy to remember. Yesterday for education, what is the framework we used? Secure learn. For for health security, we use secure care. This is PDS secure. Let's see what is this secure. P for procurement and maintenance of buffer stocks. Even if you forget, not able to recall anything, if you remember this framework, something you will write and come out. Procurement and buffer stocks. Procurement and buffer stocks. Then D stands for distribution through fair price shops. D stands for distribution through fair price shops. Distribution through fair price shops. S stands for subsidization and affordability. Subsidization and affordability. Subsidization and affordability. Another S stands for Storage and supply chain efficiency. Storage and supply chain efficiency. Storage and supply chain efficiency. E, very, very important. E stands for exclusion and inclusion errors correction. E stands for exclusion and inclusion errors correction. Exclusion and inclusion errors correction. Exclusion and inclusion errors correction. C stands for cereal to nutrient diversification. Cereal to nutrition diversification. Cereal to nutrition diversification. We spoke about diversification, right? Cereal to nutrition diversification. Cereal to nutrition diversification. Cereal to nutrition diversification. Cereal to nutrition. U stands for universal portability through one nation one ration card, or just remember universal portability. U for universal portability. R for reforms through technology and accountability. It's a broad thing. Reforms through technology and accountability. R for reforms through technology and accountability. Reforms through technology and accountability. E stands for entitlements, rights based framework. Entitlements based food security. Entitlement based or rights based food security. Entitlement based or rights based food security. Let's say you're not able to recall anything, you don't have time at all, you have only 3-4 minutes. At least if you remember this PDS secure framework, you will at least fill the page, one page, and come out. Still you may end up getting good marks. Okay, so this is how frameworks can also help you in getting that extra 1 mark, or when you don't have time, it can help you in getting scores. Okay, then yeah, contemporary relevance, it's easy for this topic. How to improve recommendations, I'll do something, it's taking a lot of time. I have many other things also to teach. I'll share this PDF. Okay, either I'll share it in AKS Telegram group, or one of you create one temporary Telegram group. In that group I'll share this PDF. Meanwhile, I'll see if there is any dedicated Telegram group for AKS. In that I'll put this PDF. Okay, you can access it. Okay, yeah. For public private participation also, it's a public private participation has more keywords, has much more scope for discussion. It's a wonderful topic, but let's see if time permits. In the end, again I'll come for public private participation, because there are other important frameworks also I have to teach. So we are done with this. Next also is important, understand. Often they ask questions on, different policies, trade policy or some industrial policy, or it could be MSME policy. Okay, it could be infrastructure related policy, PPP policy, EV policy, like that. Different policies will be there. Let's say you have not read anything specific about it, or you have read about it, but in the examination hall you are not able to recall what you have read. This framework should help you in easily writing 1.5 2 pages content. Okay, let us see. Generally, you take any policy, the policy is all about one, the policy will be giving some fiscal incentives, and the policy will be giving some non-fiscal incentives. Isn't it? Policy always wanted to encourage. So policy will have fiscal and non-fiscal incentives always. And you see, or you take any policy, every policy will talk about inclusivity. How through this policy they want to generate employment, how through this policy they want to do welfare for OBC, SC, ST, women. Every policy will have that inclusivity focus. Every policy at the end, they also will mention about how this policy is sustainable, or sustainability aspect is embedded in this policy when compared to the previous policy. In every policy, there will be a separate section where they will be saying how they are adopting a new technology, or how they are updating an existing technology. In every policy, they will mention about it. Every policy also talks about some governance reforms they have done. Let's take MSME policy. They say TREDS platform is recently introduced for trade receivables, something like that. So governance reform they have done as part of this policy. And every policy, apart from governance reform, it also talks about, uh, what do you call, how financial sustainability will be maintained. What will be the sources of funding for this policy? So this policy will always function without any disruptions. That financial sustainability aspect also they will focus. And every policy also talks about how to skill people or how to enhance the HR in this particular policy. Every policy also talks about how this policy is not implemented by the state alone, but this policy has collaborations. Whether these collaborations are in the nature of integrating Indian industry or Indian things to global, it's about global collaborations, or it's even collaborations with other industry, or it's collaboration with academia, it's collaboration with NGO, civil society, like that. Let's say you have not read anything, but still you have to write sorry, let me add couple more things. And every policy also talks about how they are going to give land where you can develop some industrial parks, or where you can develop some townships, or where you can develop like that. And every policy also tell, for this sake of this policy, we are developing dedicated infrastructure, we are constructing roads, we are connecting this to dedicated freight corridor, we are connecting this to logistics parks. You take any policies will generally hover around these broad frameworks only. Some very specifics, if you are able to recall and write, perfectly appreciated. But if you are not able to recall and write, this framework should help you. Policy will tell, don't worry, start your business, we will give fiscal incentives. We will give other non-fiscal incentives, start your business, start an industrial park, get into this PPP, or start this semiconductor industry, or start this IT enabled sector industry, we will take care. And policy will say, because of this policy, these many people are getting jobs, these backward sections are getting benefited. Policy will say, we have made this policy a green policy wherein we are minimizing the energy intensivization, we are procuring energy from renewable sources. So the policy, or this policy is having inbuilt things like, what do you call, extended producer responsibility. They will mention these kind of things. This is a common thing you find in any policy. Every policy will say we are upgrading the technology, or we are adopting new technology. Every policy says we are enhancing the ease of doing business when compared to the previous policy. And every policy will say this policy will always be ensured that there is no dearth of funds. Always funds will flow either from mechanisms like national monetization pipeline, or from international aid or international organizations, or from big financial institutions. They'll always mention that, just to instill that confidence among people. Every policy will say, to better implement this policy, we are going to give specialized skills, special HR training, so people will be in a position to better absorb this policy. Every policy will never run in alone. They always will tell that we will collaborate with NGOs, industries, this, that, or we will enter into global collaborations, like that. And in every policy, there will be a mention about land allocation, land availability, like that. In every policy, yes, they'll say these infrastructure aspects we are going to provide. We are connecting this to nearby port, we are connecting this to nearby airport, or we will have this logistics park nearby. Something or other they'll say, or we will integrate this program with Bharatmala, Sagarmala, all this stuff they would say, and they would conclude. At least 10 to 15 government policies, if you see, state government's policies on central government policies, template will be this only. Okay. Only thing is some specifics will change, but template will remain this only. So if you properly understand the intent behind this template and see what it is in depth, then writing answers will be very easy for you. Got my point? Yes. And that's the reason people think there is lot to read. In reality, there won't be much to read if you understand, if you think through templates, and if you understand the broader framework. It's all about those filling those specifics. Real preparation is this: understanding the underlying pattern, understanding the underlying framework. Once you understand this, you will not feel burdened at all. Like nobody will, a serious aspirant will not read all these policies. A serious aspirant will actually learn these frameworks and will try to see how do I apply the framework into the, any recent developments which might be coming. As simple as that. Okay. And that is one smart way of preparing for your examination. Okay. Now, another thing, this is also important because agriculture is a separate topic. Let's have one framework for agriculture. they'll ask these kind of questions. Suggest some reforms in agriculture. They'll ask these kind of open-ended questions. Agricultural reforms. So any reforms in agriculture, it should happen all these aspects. Agri credit, agri credit, agri insurance, agri credit, agri insurance, agri procurement, or agri storage, agri procurement or agri storage. Agri logistics, agri cooperatives, agri cooperatives, then agri extension services, agri extension services, agri technology, then little more precise, agri meteorological services, agri meteorological services, then agri productivity, yeah, agri research also, yeah, I forgot, agri research. If you just have this framework about agriculture, whatever you read, whatever answer you are writing about agriculture, you can just fill in this. Any reforms in agriculture first? Yes, we should bring reforms in agriculture research, right? We have one of the world's largest agri research ecosystem. Indian Council of Agriculture Research is undoubtedly one of the world's largest agri R&D ecosystem. But the problem is we're not able to, produce adequate number of innovations. One GM food crop we are struggling to, fund. We are struggling to fund. We are struggling to come up with last 2 decades, isn't it? There is not even one genetically modified food which is fully functional and which is fully applied in Indian context, right? So agri research is important. Okay, even if research happen, the biggest problem is lab to land, isn't it? There must be extension services. What is extension services? Extension services means, what is agri extension services? Agri extension services means the knowledge should come to the field. Knowledge should come to the field. Knowledge might be there. A lot of research might have been done, but that should reach the farmer, right? So agri extension officers, Krishi Vigyan Kendras, you must have heard about Krishi Vigyan Kendras, right? They do the job of agri extension services. Then another aspects like agri cooperatives, isn't it? So especially agriculture is also a resource incentive thing. So group of farmers have to come together, or it could be advanced ideas like farm producer organizations, or it could be contract farming or cooperative farming. All these kind of things will come under one domain that also need a lot of reforms. Then comes agri logistics, also is very very important, right? Both backward linkages and forward linkages of the agriculture has to be taken care. Agri storage is another major area of reform. Procurement, agri procurement is one area of reform. It could be public, it could be minimum support price, or it could be Pradhan Mantri Annadata, what is that, PM Annadata Ay Sanrakshan Yojana. Like that, there are many schemes government is running. Agri insurance is another major area, isn't it? Especially Fadal Bima Yojana exists only on paper. In reality, its implementation, especially the claims processing, is taking a lot of time. We are not using technology adequately, so that's the problem. Then agri credit is another major problem. On paper, every year we see 12 lakh crore, 13 lakh crore, 14 lakh crore being dispersed to the farmers, but reality is that agriculture credit really reaching small and marginal scale farmers or the real beneficiaries is the issue. So entire agriculture topic can be easily understood if you have this framework in mind. You can write an essay also on this. If somebody asks you to tell reforms in agriculture, you have to suggest reforms in all these aspects. Or if you have to think about agriculture, you have to think through this framework. Agri meteorological services are very very important, right? Farmers should be told when it is going to rain, when it is hailstorms, when it is going to flood, isn't it? Not just rain forecasting. They should give flood forecasting. They should give drought forecasting. They should give hailstorm forecasting. They should give landslide forecasting. That are they should be in a position to precisely indicate them the movement of the wild animals. Wild animal attacks are also bothering farmers everywhere. So this aspects have to be taken care. Agri technology is another domain. How space technology, how nanotechnology, how biotechnology, or different types of technology, right? It could be information technology like precision farming. How all these will come to the rescue of the farmers is another area we have to be aware. Productivity enhancements, it could be new cultivating varieties, or it could be genetically modified crops, or it could be simple techniques like systems of rice intensification, or going back to the indigenous varieties. All these are various ways of enhancing the agriculture productivity. And one more thing which is gaining traction is agri resilience. I think I should have added it. Agri resilience. What is agri resilience? Anyone? Agri resilience, because now climate change also is an important aspect, right? It's determining agriculture productivity, and not just agriculture productivity, and also the quality. So agri resilience means proofing of agriculture from the impacts of the climate change is called as agri resilience. Okay, so take 1-2 minutes time, try to understand this, ask me if you have any doubt in this framework, or if you think anything else can be added in the context of agriculture, so it will become much more comprehensive. Yes, anything we can add to this, or Bhargav, anything? Awareness comes under extension services only, right? Awareness generation to the farmers comes under extension services, isn't it? Extension officers, it's their responsibility to create awareness to the farmers. Okay, so practice this framework well, you can easily attempt and understand the topic of agriculture with ease. Another UPSC's favorite topic is food processing. Every alternate year they're asking a question on food processing, isn't it? Okay, so for food processing topic also we should have both good framework. So what is one easy to remember framework for food processing? Yeah, tell me. Backward linkages, forward linkages. What else? Simple. Backward linkages and forward linkages. Often they ask questions on how can we strengthen. They may not straight away ask backward linkages, forward linkages, but they'll pick one among them, they'll ask. Or while we are suggesting reforms, we should suggest reforms in terms of backward linkages and forward linkages. So what will be the backward linkages for food processing sector? Yeah, backward linkages for food processing. Yeah, what all feed into food processing sector? Simple. Backward linkages include procurement from farmers. Backward linkages include contract agreements with farmers, procurement from farmers, agreement with farmers. Back end also includes this sorting, also includes grading of the food, very very important, right? And primary packaging, not final packaging, primary packaging, sorting, grading, primary packaging, And you can also, yeah, these are some of the backward linkages, right? You can also say logistics to some extent. Backward linkages also is about to do with logistics, right? Different types of logistics, transportation, storage also is backward linkages. You can write that. All that you can simply write into logistics. And for a food processing sector, what is a forward linkage? Yeah, advertising, marketing, branding, distribution outlet, distribution, that could be retail, that could be online, that could be, both global and domestic and global. And another forward linkage is also about exports. And another forward linkage also is about what you call, yeah, diversification of markets. That comes under exports only. Diversification of markets. So whatever you suggest for food processing, yes, you can write these things. Okay. And within the food processing sector, of course, these things are applicable for anything: technology, human resources or skills, all these things, raw materials, capital, credit. That is for any industry. But these are backward linkages, these are forward linkages. Procurement from the farmers, contract agreements with farmers, sorting and grading before they reach, and primary packaging. Of course, here also packaging comes. Why packaging is important? Because if sanitary and phytosanitary standards are not maintained, they will be rejected for exports. So that also will form part of forward linkage. Advertising, marketing, branding, packaging, distribution, and maintaining, packaging, maintaining sanitary, phytosanitary standards, exports, diversification of exports, all this will come under. So if you are writing any answer on food processing sector, keep this framework in your mind. Just practice this framework well. Then it's all about filling your answer with these specific points only. Nothing more, nothing less. Broadly, we have covered 80%. And whatever you read in current affairs, you read in PIB, you will find that government will be doing to fix one of these things only. Green packaging, or maybe some biotechnology for maintaining better sanitary phytosanitary standards, or tracking of what you call movement of the food. Most of them will fall under this aspect only. You understand my point? So yeah, again, within the food processing, then it comes all the things which I mentioned previously under the, let's say government has come up with a food processing policy. Policy will have all these things. Let's say government wanted to encourage food processing sector. The policy will be like this again. This things only. So learn your templates well, then preparation will become easy. Preparation will be seamless, and you will feel much more confident. Another important framework you have to learn this time, it's not for economy, this is for internal security. This really bothers. The kind of answer students write in internal security is pathetic because they don't prepare well. That is the reason students are getting less scores in GS3. Let's say there are many topics like this. Let's say Naxalism or insurgency or inland terrorism, not terrorism from other countries, like inland, and within country also there are some terrorist groups operating in some parts of the country. Or it could be any ethno-political or separatist movements. You know what students write? How to address this? Often they'll deliberately ask this question: how to address this? Measures to be taken. One common template, common thing students write is law and order, and they'll write 5-6 points under law and order and 2-3 points under development. Done, dusted. No, you will never get marks if your answer is that superficial. Okay, So all very, very important, right? Naxalism or insurgency in the Northeast India, or inland terrorism, our homegrown terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, also like ethno-political movements or separatist movements, even secessionist movements in different parts of the country. You need to write it very comprehensively with necessary analytical depth. Okay, so law and order, development, then perception management. Perception management is equally important. Then there should be a good surrender policy. Surrender policy does not come under any of this. Then respecting constitutional promises. Let's say they might be part of 5th schedule, they might be part of 6th schedule, they might be part of article 371 ABCD, whatever it is. Respect the constitutional promises made, respect the constitutional guarantees. That also is an important measure. Then another important is power sharing agreements. Okay, always telling that we are giving you development, we are maintaining law and order, security problems will always remain the same. There is a concept in PSR, if I'm not wrong, it's called consocialism or something. It's nothing but power sharing agreement. There should be an element of power sharing with the groups which are in conflict. Then we should address the resource conflicts. If you don't address resource conflicts and just tell them that we are giving you development, we are taking care of law and order, no ethnic conflict will never get solved. All the ethnic conflicts, or all these conflicts, are about resources, right? It could be land, it could be mines, it could be minerals, it could be water, it could be something like, fossil fuels. It's all about resources. But if the resource conflicts, which are the fundamental reason for these conflicts, are not addressed, and the superficial things like development and law and order are talked about, that ethnic, the conflicts would never end. So we should always mention about this resource conflict. You also should address issues about identity. Sometimes these are also about identity or identity crisis, right? And it also should definitely include cultural protection and cultural conservation. Cultural conservation or cultural conservation or cultural protection. Okay, cultural conservation or cultural protection. And of course, you should also write about confidence building measures. Confidence building measures. That is also important. You did all these things. You also have managed perception, but still, it's not an overnight activity. You need to put a lot of effort in confidence building on the state. Only then internal security problems will go. Otherwise, we will continue the internal security. Don't write that superficial answers like law and order, Samadhan doctrine, we did this technology adopted, and specialized agencies went. No, that will not give you marks. Law and order, development, perception management, surrender policy, respecting constitutional promises, power sharing agreements, resource conflicts, if any, identity issues, then cultural conservation, cultural protection, conflict, confidence building measures. This is how you should build your answer. That brings the completeness to your answer. This will help you in essays also. Okay, this framework should also help you in writing a good essay, right? Just take 2 minutes time, try to understand what you have written before we go to the next framework. I'll take insurgency. Insurgency, Northeast India insurgency. Let's take Naga conflict. Nagalim, there is a demand for Nagalim, right? Greater Nagalim means Naga groups wanted to unify all the Naga inhabited territories and they want to declare themselves as a separate nation. It's a very long, right from the time of independence, we have this. So yes, no doubt we already have what you call paramilitary forces working for it. Then you can also write this for this particular topic, border management also. These things, some of them also have to do with border management. So then you should do development. Nagas are asking for development. Let's do development. Social infrastructure, physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, economic infrastructure, governance infrastructure, digital infrastructure, all this infrastructure, and build political infrastructure also. Means strengthen their political processes and strengthen their political institutions. Perception management is very, very important, isn't it? I'm doing all these things, but still people perceive government as an enemy, that's not correct. So with a lot of confidence building measures and with a lot of efforts to what you call pacifying them, we should try to change the perception among people about the country. That's very, very important. Surrender policy is very important. Why every time law and order, some people might have got into these out of compulsion, economic compulsion. For them, give a good economic policy, a surrender policy. You surrender, I'll give you business, I'll give you credit, I'll give you job, I'll give you this, that. They may surrender. Straight away you can win the people. Then you respect the constitutional promises. That is very, very important. Most of the times, these people, what they don't like is, we made many promises at the time of independence. We said we are giving you fifth schedule, we are giving you sixth schedule, or we come with special constitutional arrangements, but often they are implemented only on paper. In reality, they are not implemented. The constitutional promises are broken, so they should be taken care. Then of course, power sharing agreements. Sometimes, when we are not able to address this conflict for very long, it's okay to share power with them. Of course, these constitutional promises are also about power sharing, but sometimes they might be demanding for better power sharing. Maybe they're asking for a separate state, maybe they're asking for a separate territorial board, maybe a regional board, economic board, something, or a more concrete power sharing agreement sometimes will work. Then more fundamentally, often these are the conflict for the resources. Government might be silently siphoning off their mines, minerals, or some natural gas, or some, what do you call, anything which is in there, or it could be forests. They won't like it. So that resource conflict should be addressed. How you can address it? Give them ownership, isn't it? That is what this Pradhan Mantri, what is that scheme? Kanik Kshetra Kalyan Yojana. What does this Pradhan Mantri Kanik Kshetra Kalyan Yojana does in mining areas? To address issues of Naxalism, they established Mines and Minerals Development Authority, or something, District Mineral Commission, DMCs they established. And any royalty which mining companies pay to the district collector, they are giving back to the people. Pradhan Mantri Kanik Kshetra Kalyan Yojana talks about it. Then identity issues also. Sometimes it's also about identity. You constantly station your paramilitary forces, or your military forces, or you tend to undermine their identity in media and everywhere, or an element of you don't take any measures to protect their cultural practices. Then that may lead to an identity crisis to them. Like they might feel they are hopeless, they don't have a state, or their state only is perpetrating violence against them, or they are not part of this this country called as India. All this will create an identity crisis in them. So we also should ensure that their identity is preserved. At the same time, national identity should not be imposed on them. Their ethnic identity and national identity should coexist than national identity trying to erase of their ethnic identity. That's what I'm trying to say. Then cultural conservation is important, because for these people, ethnic people, it could be insurgents or all these people, for them their culture is very dear to them, and if we don't take measures to conserve it or protect it, yes, that again could be a problem. And confidence building measure is not an overnight thing, it's about many things. It's a combination of all these things, telling people that we are doing a lot for you, we are doing this only for you. This requires a lot of patience. It's not just about carrying arms and ammunitions and marching in the streets. If you do such kind of theatrics, confidence will never be built. It might sound heroic, it might be good for pictures, it might be good for portrayals. Think in their shoes. Let's say you are from Kukatpalli. In your Kukatpalli, if government marches 3 regiments of paramilitary forces, do you feel safe and secure about this country? No, you would, like outwardly it might be good for theatrics. Oh, now government has cordoned off the area, government is taking care of law and order, but for the people in that area, no, it's a sign of what you call bulldozing their feelings, or it's a sign of what you call oppression also, nothing more than that. That's what AFSPA does. That's why people, the amount of negativity which AFSPA, Armed Force Special Powers Act, have in these areas, it's so much. Okay, sitting here in Hyderabad or sitting somewhere in South India, commenting on what people there have to do for the nation is easy. Sitting in their shoes and trying to empathize with them is a different thing. Anyways, coming back, border management also is somewhat important, especially in addressing some of these aspects. Okay, so yeah, that's it, ma. Now, another framework another framework, and this framework is something which is applicable to most of the internal security issues. Let's take, they ask these kind of questions: how to reform cyber security, how to address organized crimes, it could be environmental crimes, it could be NDPS, narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, different crimes, cyber security, environmental crimes, NDPS crimes, uh, other organized crimes also, crimes in antiquity, whatnot. It's a big list of organized crimes. What I am trying to do is I'll give you a framework for this, easy framework. This framework somewhat resembles what we have discussed yesterday, but it's one level deeper, or one level specific to this internal security thing. Of course, all these internal security issues like cyber security, environmental crimes, drugs related crimes, crimes in antiquity, it's a big list of organized crimes, isn't it? Counterfinance, sorry, what is that? Counterfeit currency, or spurious currency, spurious drugs, all these things will fall under one aspect. So yes, there also you need to have a strong policy. There also you need to have solid legal, or if there are any legal loophole that has to be, you need to have specialized institutions to tackle this problem. In India, we don't have specialized institutions to tackle this, and you need people with specialized skills to tackle this. But in India, it's a homogeneous police force that is trying to tackle all of these problems, institutional, HR. Then it is also about technology also should be used effectively to solve these problems. And there is also an element of ethical angle or social angle to it. Always conclude these topics with that ethical or social angle. And solving them also requires a dedicated grievance redressal, and solving them also needs a significant citizen support. Solving these also requires a significant collaboration with all agencies. Often when we write answers, we write in a very mechanical way. Some recent policy government has taken, no, that will not fetch you marks. Your answer should ideally have all these aspects. Okay, there should be a cyber policy or a maritime security policy. There should be a vibrant, there should be strong laws, and there should be enforcement of these laws. There should be dedicated or specialized institutions to solve these issues, and there should be dedicated people with specialized skills, isn't it? And there should be technology induction, and they should have a grievance redressal. Let's say if people are victims of this, they have to have a dedicated grievance redressal mechanisms. Citizens role also is very important in solving these problems. If citizens are not involved in solving of these problems, it's not easy to resolve these problems. Citizens should always be involved. And collaboration, these kind of problems only state alone cannot do. State, civil society, industry, international organizations, other international enforcement agencies, all of them have to come together and work in a concerted way, concerted manner. Only then these problems can be addressed. And these problems also should, your answer also should end with an ethical or social angle. Okay, just because internal security need not stop short of writing an ethical or social angle. Ultimately all these problems are because of greed, or kids not getting attention, or consumerism in the society, or get rich fast kind of attitude. So you can also conclude these kind of answers. Ultimately you have to address that social crisis. Only then you can address this internal security problem. Okay, so as you are writing answers to these kind of questions, don't write your answer in a very superficial way, just writing 2-3 current affair topics about this kind of topics. You should write a very comprehensive answer, and your comprehensive answer should cover all these facets. Okay, take 1-2 minutes time. Add, if you can add anything to this framework, it will be nice. Think again. Should we prepare separately again for maritime security, cyber security? You need not. You have this framework. You start thinking on these lines. It's all about writing answers on these lines. Okay, preparation is simple. We tend to complicate it. Yes. If you understand the original intention and depth of these frameworks, it's all about replicating them, right? Yes. We waste tens and tens of hours of time on passively reading current affairs without trying to situate them in the broader frameworks. The earlier you master this skill of, situating, identifying the patterns, identifying the frameworks, and situating all the content which you are reading as part of your current affairs into these frameworks, your preparation will get seamless, preparation will get easy. Okay, most of the students are not doing that. That's the reason for all problems. Yes. Yes, please. Anything to add? Anything to add? Yes, you can draw maps also. Internal security, you can draw maps. Ah, yes, ma. That gets little specific, right? You are trying to ask how fast the government responds. How fast the government responds depends on legal clarity, policy clarity, institutional robustness, specialization of the skill, adoption of everything. Like the framework is, it's all about applying it. You can use in that context also. I know these days the tendency is to ask very specific question. UPSC is not broad basing. UPSC is trying to make it specific. Food security, how does it lead to nutritional security? Sorry, PDS, how does it lead to nutritional security? They'll give an open-ended 10 marker. Then you have to write, they have already identified one thing and specifically they'll ask how to write one page on it. See, it's all about, you can use these frameworks only. How can you generate one content on just, they are only giving the obvious outcome and asking, yes, obvious outcome will happen when we follow the framework. As simple as that. That's a recent trend, right? Last 2 years they think it's a difficult, it's enhancing difficulty level. I don't think it's about difficulty level. That's not difficult. Everything boils down to understanding the broader frameworks only. Okay. Yeah. Now, yeah, let's do one more topic. This is also UPSC's favorite topic. They keep asking, they never get bored, but students often ignore this topic. Technology missions. National Quantum Mission, National Biopharma Mission, National Semiconductor Mission, National that mission, this mission, isn't it? Different missions there are. They're always in the news also. But science and technology, what we do is we often focus only on technology and applications. Suddenly they come up and they are surprised with this technology missions topic. So be thoroughly prepared on this technology missions. I'm not saying technology per se is not important. Definitely that is more important. Space technology, nuclear technology, nanotechnology, and their applications. That part is important, no doubt. But what is more, also what is important is technology missions. Okay, for technology missions, yeah, we will have a small framework. Write down. Mission Tech is the framework. For all technology missions, you can simply use this framework. Don't leave this question and come out even if you have not specifically read. Sir, they asked National Superconductor Mission, we have not read it. Quantum Mission, we did not read it. Biopharma Mission, we could not read it. Nanotech Mission, plenty of missions are there. Some of them are also in agriculture domain. Some of them are also in veterinary domain. Like in many domain, government is running this technology missions. How can we mug up and remember all the content under it? Remember this broad framework. One, mission. M stands for, write down. M stands for measurable mission goal. Measurable mission goal. Measurable mission goal. What national problem it is trying to resolve? What national problem it is trying to resolve? What is the target? What is the target? And by when they have to achieve? And by when they have to achieve? These are some specifics we should be aware. And by when they want to achieve? And by when they want to achieve? what is the national problem, what is the target they want to achieve, and by when this will be achieved. Then I for institutional architecture. I for institutional architecture. Institutional architecture. Institutional architecture means which is the nodal ministry, or who is the mission director, or agencies involved, or is it implemented through PPP, or is it implemented through PPP, public private partnership. Are state governments involved in this? Are state governments involved in this institutional architecture? What is the role of academia in this? What is the role of academia? What is the role of academia in this? What is the role of academia in this? Institutional architecture. Then S stands for science and research and technology base. Science and research and development base. S for science and research and development base. Research. Okay, what research they are doing as part of it? Where are the labs? Where are the labs? What are the prototypes built till now? Where are the labs? What are the prototypes built now? Are there any patents taken? Are there any patents taken? Is there any indigenous component in this? Is there any indigenous component in this? Is there any indigenous component in this? This is about science and R&D base. Okay. Labs, prototypes, patents, indigenous design. Where is the research happening, like that? Then skills and human resources. Need not mention. Skills and human resources. Skills and human resources. Okay. Skills and human resource means simple. For something it will be scientists, for some it will be engineers, for some it will be startups, for some it will be technicians, for some it will be field level capacity. But definitely write one point on skills and human resources. Then I for infrastructure and platforms. Infrastructure and platforms. Infrastructure and platforms. Again, labs, data sets, test beds, labs, data sets, test beds, computational infrastructure, standards testing infrastructure. Standards testing infrastructure means you are developing this technology. Don't you think we have to test it, test the standards of it? We have to do computations and establish statistical validity of it. All these things will come under one domain, infrastructure and platforms. Then O for output. Output, adoption and market. Output, adoption and market. Any technology mission, it has to talk about output. It has to talk about adoption, its adoption of technology, and market usage of technology. Okay, as part of it, pilot projects launched. Any agencies which have procured this technology already. Any industry is using this technology already. Affordability of the technology. Commercialization of the technology. Affordability of the technology. Commercialization of the technology. Affordability of the technology. Commercial technology. Then recently space, what they are trying to do? They are trying to transfer some technologies to industries, right? They are encouraging private industries to procure these technologies, right? They are focusing that these technologies are affordable. They are trying to commercialize isn't it? All these technology missions are funded by government. But the problem is these things all these days they are not coming out. They are just remaining inside. So now government is focusing on commercializing these technologies. This technology should be made affordable so other private players use this technology and create market in our own country. Like this materials, many materials they are trying to develop in our own country, technologies they are trying to develop, space technology, avionics technology, everywhere. Recently in prelims also they asked one question on semiconductors, right? Government is also funding on semiconductors, not in a big way, but yes. Then national interest, N for national interest, N for national interest, N for national interest. In national interest, yes, this particular technology mission, how it is serving national interest, like that. Strategic autonomy, security, climate goals, climate goals, food security, climate goals, food security, food security, health outcomes, health outcomes, okay, growth, economic growth, like that. Okay, for medical technology also government is doing some mission. So for medical technology mission, it has an, don't you think it will improve health outcomes of the country if we have our own medical technology, indigenous medical technology, like that. Then T for technology transfer and indigenization, T for technology transfer and indigenization to reduce import dependence, domestic manufacturing to reduce import dependence, domestic manufacturing and IP. Next, very important, E for ecosystem creation. Okay, this is important. Ecosystem creation. Understand what you are writing, don't do this work passively. Ecosystem creation, startups, industry, academia, startup, industry, academia, financial institutions, then incubation centers. Listen one second. And while writing answers also, this point is very important. Let's say semiconductor mission. Semiconductor mission is not just about encouraging semiconductor production. It should create a proper ecosystem such that it also should contribute to cluster based development. There should be many semiconductor industries at one place, and there should be R&D happening. That R&D should lead to proliferation of startups. There should be specialized funding agencies which are specialized in funding to these startups in this particular ecosystem. And there should be skill development which is specialized to this. Ecosystem includes all these things, and there should be test beds like incubation centers. You got my point? T-Hub is an incubation center. T-Works is an incubation center. T-Hub is about incubation, tech development and tech adoption, and there are specialized financial agencies. Everything should happen at one place. You got my point? That is what the benefit of a cluster. The benefit of a cluster is that. What is Genome Valley in Hyderabad? There are biopharmaceutical companies. There is biotechnology research and development. There are specialized skilling centers. There are specialized financial agencies, specialized marketing agencies. There is connected to academia. So that is how we should create ecosystems. So technology missions are not just about producing technology outcomes. Technology missions are also about developing ecosystems or clusters. Got my point? Yes. Then of course, C stands for compliance, ethics and regulation. C stands for compliance, ethics and regulation. C stands for compliance, ethics and regulation. Okay, so whenever we are developing technology, we should also ensure that there will be compliance, there should be ethics and regulation, standards, Safety, standards. Standards are very important. Safety is important. Privacy, cyber security, environmental norms, everything is important. Cyber security, environmental norms, all these aspects. Simply put, compliance, ethics, and regulation is very important. In all technology missions, you will definitely have this. Okay, let's say they are doing research on genetically modified crops. There will be compliance, there will be ethics, there will be regulation. They are doing research on genome editing. There will be compliance, there should be ethics, there should be regulation. Whatever could be the technology, always this compliance, safety standards, privacy standards, environmental norms have to be maintained. Okay, and often these kind of questions also they ask, right? Should we adopt GM crop? Should we adopt this technology? Should we adopt that technology? So for all these questions, framework is very simple. Never say no to technology. Okay, never say no to technology, because no human civilization has ever progressed by saying no to technology. Every technology has positive and negative collaterals. Every technology has positive collaterals and negative collaterals. What we should do is minimize negative collaterals, maximize positives. This is a standard template. Never ever write an answer, never ever write an ethics, sorry, never ever write an essay answer or SNT answer by saying that we should not adopt this technology. No, human civilization will never progress without adopting technology. Yes, technology has negative fallouts, but technology also has a positive fallout. What a civilized society should do? Minimize the negative fallouts, maximize the positive fallouts, but don't say no to technology. Never say no to technology. Got my point? This is one very commonly repeated framework, commonly repeated question they ask. As an aspirant, while writing answers, you should keep this aspect in mind. Never say no to technology. Okay, last. H is for human resources, human welfare outcomes. H is for human welfare outcomes. Better services, better jobs, better services, better jobs, inclusion, productivity. Is it any technology mission is about better services, better jobs, inclusion, productivity, resilience, self-reliance, isn't it? So don't mug up all the technology missions. Learn this framework and try to fit your answer in this framework. Resilience, self-reliance, Atmanirbharata, right? It's all about Atmanirbharata. Whether it is an aero engine or whether it is a any defense or everywhere it is about Atmanirbharata. Atmanirbharata in technology is so important. There is no Atmanirbharata in reality. Isn't it? Do we have an aero engine? It's been 70 years. Country does not even have an aero engine. Do we have an indigenous submarine? They claim. We don't have. 60% of the products are taken from Ukraine, Russia, Israel, everywhere. Here, assembling. What they do is assembly. So, self-reliance, Atmanarbharata is only for what do you call YouTube sensationalism and all. In reality, huh? By 2047. Yeah. So these are some frameworks. There is do we will do one PYQ before I go to the next framework. Any PYQ if you want, if you want, you can. I'll economy or anything is fine. Economy. We'll start with economy. Hmm. Sorry. Economy like agri economy or anything in macro economy. Whatever you feel as difficult, let's try to do. And Charan, I once again cross check that discriminatory approach question. What you said is correct. Like, but that should form only 1/4 of the answer. Rest of the discussion on discrimination is what we discussed. I missed it in the class, but you also should focus on that aspect, the positive discrimination or affirmative action part. Got it? Yes. Anyway, take any not like that. Why everything will be difficult? Huh? If there is no questions, I'll go to discussion. Nothing? Sure. Take any one question just for the sake of because we'll see if the framework is easy to. Ah, okay. Then I'll go to disaster management. It's a very important topic. Never ever they ignore this topic. Need not tell. NDMA guidelines are very, very important. Read thoroughly all the recent NDMA guidelines. Okay. Need not tell specifically. All NDMA guidelines that could be on earthquakes, NDMA guidelines for, I think there is also one NDMA guideline for tsunamis, NDMA guidelines for flood control or flood management, NDMA guidelines for crowd management or stampede. If there are no dedicated guidelines, at least NDMA recommendations you will find elsewhere, isn't it? Handling epidemiologies or health emergencies. You have to read all these things, health emergencies. Okay. And NDMA guidelines also for cyclones, droughts, heat waves, any MDMA, if not guidelines, any MDMA sessions on handling cold waves, because many people die in, isn't it? Especially fire accident deaths. Not every time there might be some guidelines, but there will be some protocols. Fire accidents, industrial disasters. There will be a common framework for all of them. When I'm writing all those things, don't get panicked. Okay. For everything, it is about framework. It's all about response, recovery, prevention, preparedness. You should have this framework and nothing to get panicked. You should fill these specifics only. Maybe there might be couple of specifics, like for earth, there might be seismic zone identification. Couple of specifics might be there for each of them, but broadly you can write this also through framework. Okay, don't think that how can we read so many NDMA guidelines. You should be aware that all these exist, and you should identify some common framework. That's the reason, right? Many a time some student don't even attempt that question. Oh, I did not read NDMA guidelines on, let's say suddenly they ask some question on NDMA guideline on something. Most of the time we are not even aware that NDMA guideline exists. Those are the kind of question they ask. Don't leave and come out. Why should you leave and come out? After all, it is an agency for disaster management. So what it will suggest? It will suggest you how to prepare yourself for the first, how to prevent the disaster, how to be prepared for the disaster. If disaster happens, how to respond for the disaster. After responding for the disaster, how to recover back. These are the only four things you have to write. That isn't it? So they themselves have given a framework for disaster management. You got my point. So why should we panic that I have not read landslides, I have not read no. Anything is about taking that preventive action. Let's say prevention. Here also you can have a framework. So easy. So prevention, how can prevention happen? Very simple. Prevention can happen through any disaster. Prevention can happen through structural measures. Structural measures you have to take. Then any prevention can happen through technology adoption. Any prevention can happen through community awareness. community awareness or community awareness building. And within community awareness building, simulations, mock drills, all these things. Simulations, mock drills, educating children, like that. So, structural measures, non-structural measures like technology adoption, community awareness. I'm coming to that. Institutionals, specialized institutions, let's say for fire management, for all this you need specialized, isn't it, specialized gear. So institutional support, specialized institutions, and specialized people with specialized skills. Again, same thing will come. Nothing to get panicked. Everything you have to read only, then you can write the answer is a myth. Practically, humanly not possible to read everything. Have common sense. Apply the frameworks. Even if you just apply the frameworks we discussed over the last 4 class, uh, rest of the days of your mains preparation is all about filling those facts. It's that simple. Okay, we tend to complicate the examination process. Okay, so like this, prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery, these are the 4 important phases of a disaster management. And I'm not getting into much depth of it, because already I have given enough frameworks. Largely you can apply even those frameworks to write answers on disaster management. Okay, I'll share this PDF also with you, the topic of public private partnership. Okay, let's discuss some keywords in this public private partnership. We have some more time. Have you heard this term? Contract renegotiation. Have you heard this term in the context of PPP? In the context of PPP, plug and play. In the context of PPP, what is time overrun? What is cost overrun? Things like BOT, HAM, EPC, that I am not touching because they are concepts, they are not keywords or jargon as such. And contract renegotiation, any other terms you can think of in terms of public-private partnership? Yeah, these are some popular terms, right? Contract renegotiation. One of the biggest problem with public-private partnerships is the conflict. Conflict between whom? State and contracting agency. Why conflict? Often conflict comes, what is PPP? It is just a type of public procurement only, right? Fundamentally, you all should know this. It's a type of public procurement. Government think, where do I have time to do so many things? There are some people who are willing to do things. So let me outsource this responsibility. Let me buy this service from somebody. Let me buy this service from somebody. So when you are trying to buy service from someone, but when you don't have money with you, what will you do? You will make all fake promises to them. Don't worry, I'll give your money on time. I'll give it on the paper and give you that I'll give money on time. But governments often don't give money on time, as simple as that. Our government will promise us, you do this project, you will get lot of money. Poor people, they'll believe that, oh, if I do this project, I'll get lot of money. They'll get into contract. They end up not getting any money. So the PPP is such a simple topic. It's all a basic commonsensical thing. It's agreement between two parties. Or these guys, without lack of knowledge about government or how things work in government, okay, we will start the project. Then as they start doing the project, they'll understand in government everything is a problem. If I have to procure the land, not easy. If I have to take permissions, not easy. I have to pay bribes to so much, I have to pay cuts to so much. So and suddenly one fine day prime minister may come and say demonetization from tomorrow, GST from tomorrow, whatnot, or Trump will do something nasty, so market will collapse. These guys are promised all big things, they can't do all those big things, you understand, but they end up not getting profits. These are the reasons often, PPPs, most of the times PPPs end in conflict. Government promises that I'll pay you upfront, or sorry, I'll pay you, but they are not able to pay. Government promises if you take this project you will make a lot of money, but often nothing happens. Government promises we will take care of everything if you do this project, but they don't take care of anything. So that is the reason why, PPP is a important topic. Fundamentally PPP is nothing but public procurement. That is why these things are becoming popular. Contract renegotiation. I have entered into a contract, you have promised me so many things, but you are not able to deliver all those things. Let's renegotiate the contract. Currently that renegotiating the contract is not there, but they always ask for it. Plug and play. Plug and play is what often contractors ask for. Plug and play means you only procure the land. You get all environmental concerns, clearances, fire clearances, forest clearances, land clearances, whatnot. Many clearances. Why should we do? We are buying your product, we are buying your, sorry, we want to do this service for you, and why do we have to take care of all these things? You do it and give it to us, give it to us, we will take care of only what we are good at. That is the idea of plug and play. Time overrun and cost overrun is nothing but because of delays. There is one beautiful example, right? One project which is ideally supposed to be completed in 1974 got completed recently in 2016. The cost escalation, by the time the project got, I'm not able to recall the name, by the time the project got completed, it costed around 84,000 crores. Had it been completed on time, it would have ended with 800 crores. Often the cost escalations because of time overrun and cost overrun is 100 times more. We have seen right in front of our eyes, Polavaram, where it started and what the magical numbers now are. It's all because of, not able to complete the projects on time overruns, cost over. That's why public private partnerships is a sore point. Also read evolving topics, like in the context of PPPs, what is the Swiss challenge method. All these are evolving nature. In regular classes, I mean in sessions, we will try to do specific session, we'll try to do more about these kind of topics. Okay, so that's it for today's session. PPP, I'll share the document with you, try to read that document. Okay, tomorrow we will do a session on ethics. Okay, come well prepared, read at least, if your ethics books have gathered dust because of last 6 months of prelims preparation, at least basic things like difference between ethics and morals or these kind of things, do little bit of work before you come to class tomorrow. We will try to make it as comprehensive as possible. Okay, we'll spend good amount of time not just on reflective topics, we also will spend good amount of time on case studies. Okay, often case studies are ignored. I'll take care of that case studies aspect also. Yeah, thank you.